Hey everybody, welcome to the event. I'm really happy to be with you tonight, and I know we're still longing on, but the cast is here from The Elephant in the Room, along with some producers and some very vital people who made this project really come to fruition. And so thanks for joining us. And I'm gonna just probably shoot the shit for a little bit so we can wait for other people to log on, and then we'll get started. I know, I guess, Nico, why don't we tell the backstory about how we met? To tell you the truth, I don't know the attendees know this, but Bonnie Freeman is the writer of a book, and she had the vision to create it into a film. And I remember right before, about maybe 8 months before I went on the Live Well, Die Well tour, I got this crazy phone call from this lady named Bonnie Freeman, excited about this really huge film she was doing. They were in the middle of, filming it. And I was like, she was asking if she could come on my podcast and if I could promote it. And I was like, sure, why not? And I never heard from her again. And I got this random email from a guy named Nico Fataco, and he informed me that the most excited person I knew about a project had unexpectedly passed away. And I guess I would love to start just by mentioning what occurred, Nico, and then we're gonna, while we let other people come on board, and then I'm going to really acknowledge Partner Plus in sponsoring this event for us. But I believe I would be remiss if we don't acknowledge how this all came together, because I know some of you we met in Los Angeles at an event that we did, but some of you I didn't. But it was, Nico, I feel like we're family. And Craig and a couple other people that were in the Los Angeles event. It just feels like we're building Bonnie's legacy. So why don't you take it from sort of what occurred and what happened to Bonnie, and how did you find my email to connect with me?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Kimberly, for having us all together here, and Partner Plus Media. We really appreciate it, and everyone who's logged in. But yeah, just like you said, I remember one day during post-production, I believe, just the beginning of post-production, Bonnie came up to me and was super excited, saying that there's this woman that she follows on a podcast that she had an instant connection with, because this lady loves elephants just as much as she does. And she's like, I don't know how anyone could love elephants as much or more than I do. And she's like, we have to reach out to her and get on her podcast. She's like, are you ready to be interviewed on her podcast? I'm like, yeah, all right. I don't even know who you're talking about. But she was just so excited about you, who I didn't know at the time, had no idea about. And I think she sent me a link to your TED Talk that you did way back when. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And you just let me know, Bonnie, where and when to show up or what to do. I'll be happy to talk and blab away. I'm good at that.
And by the way, I do have a 7-foot blow-up elephant on the stage with me on this TED Talk. So, I mean, it was bigger than me. So that, I think when Bonnie saw that, she's like, what? And then I have to pause for a minute, because she was so freaking excited about this project. And then it was like crickets. I didn't know what occurred. And then I got this random email from you.
Yeah. She unexpectedly passed away. It's personal without getting into too many details, just because, I don't want to, it's not my position to discuss that, but it was unexpected for everybody. And it was difficult. Anybody who doesn't know, her husband, Alan, is our amazing director. He's not here with us today, but I mean, I can only imagine, you know, how hard it hit him and everyone else. We all became family together. She had a family outside of the film, but our family within the film was just like completely heartbroken and shattered. And I don't think we knew exactly how to move forward, but it always stuck with me that I knew shortly before she did pass that she had talked about you, Kimberly, and was like really excited. And I feel like she felt as though you were somehow like a window for us to take it a little bit further, to take this film to the next step in a sense, or a little bit further. And so I looked back on that, and that's when I looked you up, did a little bit more research, saw the 7-foot tall elephant on your TED Talk, and I was like, okay, there's a huge elephant on the stage. I can see exactly why Bonnie connected with you. So yeah, I got your email somehow, and I reached out to you, and I'm like, this is out of the blue. I apologize, but here's the deal. And I explained, unfortunately, what had happened, but then also that I wanted to, if you were open to it, I wanted to connect with you and see how we can kind of like take Bonnie's story and tell it to the world and make this an extension of her life's work, and which is what she had always wanted. That was her goal, as simple as it was. She wanted to make this film an extension of her life's work. And so I saw you as possible evidence. So sorry for taking advantage of you for that, but.
No, please. When I got the email, I think I was so shocked that I ended up calling you, or we connected via the phone, because, you know, when you're shooting a film about end of life and you have a palliative care, I believe she was a nurse practitioner.
Yes.
And in Los Angeles, and she's so excited, and then suddenly in the midst of post-production, she dies. I could only have imagined what the cast went through, what Alan, her husband, as the director of this, went through. And I believe you didn't even know me, and I think I was crying on the phone because it was such a shock to me how this excited, enthusiastic person was no longer with us, but yet the project seemed to, I mean, Nico, you're an actor and producer on this, and I get that, but you, because of Bonnie's presence, you were like, we've got to do this. And then when I met the rest of your cast, some of you in Los Angeles, suddenly it was just like Bonnie. It became this whole momentum of what she did and what she was trying to do. And I loved it. And it was amazing to connect with you guys. And I tell you, I feel like some of you who I've met and journeyed with, we're family. And I was so happy to see your distribution deal and it get on Amazon. And my dad's like, you know these people? And I'm like, Dad, yeah. I mean, you know, it's like, can I get a poster and it's signed? I'm like, yeah, maybe. But yeah, it really is exciting to see Bonnie's passion work really come to fruition when it comes to being on Amazon, and to see some of you guys really, I guess, get the credit that you so deserve working on this project. I saw some of the comments today on Amazon and the 5-star ratings, and you're touching people, and Bonnie and Alan, who's not with us, her husband, you're touching people you probably never thought you would. And I think it's amazing. Before we do any more, I want to talk to my friend, Tony from Partner Plus. Let me just explain to you, when we do certain events like this, it takes people to sponsor events and to make it free. And the one thing that Partner Plus and I have in common is we do believe in free community education around end of life. And Tony, we've been working together for a few months now, and you're gonna know that he's not from America when he speaks, and you're gonna absolutely appreciate who he is, because he is in England and it's about 5 hours ahead of us on the East Coast. and then 8 hours ahead of you guys on the West Coast. So it's in the middle of the night, and he's like showing up for us. So Tony, welcome to this amazing event, and thank you and Partner Plus for being a part of this.
No, thank you, Kimberly. And yes, you're right. It is very late. I am not a night owl at all. So if my eyes start to close, give me a virtual nudge.
I hear you. I hear you. Before we get too much into our conversation, can you tell me a little bit about Partner Plus and why you guys are interested in events like this, working with me? Who are you guys, and why are me, Kimberly C. Paul, and Death by Design? Why are we collaborating?
Sure. Partner Plus, as you alluded to, and my accent definitely suggests, we are a British company. We expanded into North America about 5 years ago now. Our HQ is still in Manchester, England, and that's where I am. But we now have offices in the wonderful city of Durham, that I know you know very well.
North Carolina, people. Durham, North Carolina, not Durham, England, Durham, North Carolina.
and in Oakville, near Toronto too, another wonderful city. But for the past 5 years, I've got to say, I'm bound to say, incredibly successful and rewarding years. We've mainly worked in the area of this end of life arena. And we've served funeral homes initially, and now for the past couple of years, we've been working with hospice too, which is probably why I'm here tonight. So, who are we? Partner Plus are experts, and again, I'm bound to say that, in creating design, marketing, and educational resources. And I guess there's lots of companies out there who will fit that description. And you also alluded to it earlier. We like to think we're different, and the reason we're different is that we're committed to providing educational resources for hospice at no charge. So that's usually a welcome difference for a start.
Totally welcome difference, because you guys believe in the hospice mission, and I love that it doesn't matter if you're nonprofit or for-profit, you believe in the mission work of what hospice is doing, whether it's in the UK, the United States, Canada, and you want to provide additional, and I have to say, really beautiful educational materials at a level that most hospices can't afford to produce, and you're doing this at no charge.
Absolutely. A lot of people ask me how we've come to do so much work in this end of life arena, and I guess the simple answer is we care. And we really believe in the importance of end-of-life conversations and the support that's needed by all of us at what is more often than not an incredibly difficult and emotional time. And that belief really was born very early on from a collective of personal experiences of a number of our Partner Plus team, not least who I know you spoke to, not least our founder, Darren Street, on a very personal level. But now, having worked with so many hospice across North America, this has really grown and developed into a determination to help to deliver the important message of hospice. Ultimately, we want to help as many organisations as possible reach those who need hospice care sooner. The great thing is, and it really is gratifying, is all of the hospice that we're working with are telling us that our efforts are really well received and appreciated by not only the hospice staff, but the patients and their wider families too. So, you know, it's humbling to be making a difference in a small way.
And you know, the president of Partner Plus, Darren, he lost his father. They had hospice, and he realized that he thought he knew what end of life services were, but then he realized he knew a lot less than he imagined. And I believe that everyone feels that way. And even the movie Elephant in the Room, where a lot of the characters are going through end of life choices, and on kind of an immediate kind of way where you're not supposed to have those decisions and questions when you're going through it. You're supposed to do it way in advance. And I believe that's the mission of Partner Plus, is how do we educate people about the resources of end of life and do it very beautifully. And I believe Partner Plus does that with the materials. And a lot of people are asking Tony why you and I are working together. You know, I'm sitting in my house in Wilmington, North Carolina after 2.5 years on the road. I just moved back in, and I'm thinking, why wouldn't I work with a company that loves hospice and the message of hospice as much as I do? And I believe Partner Plus, you, especially if you have a CEO that's passionate about it, when they believe in something, they're willing to put both feet in. I found you guys very passionate about what you're doing. You're very talented and experts on what and why you're doing things. And I love that you've brought me on and that we're working together. And this is the great thing. If you are a hospice organization and you're interested in learning more about the collaboration and the projects that Partner Plus and I are doing by creating beautiful educational materials, whether it's for patients and families, community, or advanced care planning, if you're interested, in your chat tonight, put your name and email. And if you say, yes, I want to learn more about it, I believe you're going to get a free book from me, Bridging the Gaps. And Nico, we're going to send them a Elephant in the Room poster that, yeah, we are. So if you're interested in learning more, but Tony, before I let you go in the middle of the night, tell us a little bit more about what specifically we're doing with these beautifully designed resource books and what that has done for hospices that you've worked with in the United States.
Sure. Yeah. It's really pretty simple. We're providing innovative educational hospice guides in both print and digital formats. And you've already alluded to this, every guide that we produce is produced to the highest quality possible, and we're complimented endlessly on that.
And it looks like their brand as well. I mean, you make it look like their organization.
Exactly, and every book that guide that we produce, is customized to suit the branding and the language of each individual hospice that we're working with, and that's on an individual basis every time. You know, each guide is really designed to help to educate the reader concerning advanced care planning, end-of-life topics, and really the mission and the vision of the individual hospice that we're working with. To describe the book a little bit, and I'm not going to go too much into detail, but to give you an idea, typically a guide will have around 40 pages of text dedicated to the hospice. So there's nothing off the shelf here. So it's really comprehensive, it's really informative. And again, we create and print these guides totally free of cost. Generally, we supply around 1,000 books, and they are books, for each hospice we work with per year. And again, that's complemented with an e-guide. And you know, the hospice, the feedback that we've had has been incredible, overwhelmingly positive, in that we are helping hospice to really get their message out there, in a format that you correctly say, quite often they might not have the funds or the time to do themselves.
Exactly. And you know, I want people, even though we're tonight focusing on palliative care and hospice care, there are things like funeral homes that you guys have worked with. There are death doulas associations that we've worked with. So if you feel that you want to know more about what Partner Plus is doing for hospices and you might think might be a good fit for you, put it in the chat and we'll reach out to you and we'll let you know if it's not. And this is sort of what we are doing. And if it's a good fit, we'd love to work with you. First of all, Tony, Partner Plus has allowed and brought us all here together in the memory of Bonnie, celebrating her legacy with this wonderful film. Thank you for making this a free event for all of our attendees and for having open space for this cast to come and celebrate Bonnie, celebrate a beautiful movie and work of art. If it wasn't for people like you who believe in these end-of-life services, along with those who actually work in the field that I love, I'm not sure where we would be. So Partner Plus Media, Tony, thank you so much for what you contribute to the field that I love. And I really do appreciate you guys being a part of this event. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Kimberly. It's an honor to be involved with this. And thank you to everyone that's joined us, and not least the amazing cast of Elephant in the Room. So no, thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So here we are, because of Partner Plus Media making this a free event to everyone who's signed up. I believe we've had almost 200 people register for this event. And it's a free event, so we have unlimited tickets. But I love when people are fighting to make sure they are part of this. First of all, welcome cast. Thank you so much for I know the majority of you are in Los Angeles, in your home. I can't tell you how many times I have watched this movie and I have caught Bonnie in so many scenes that the first time around, I didn't see her. And then I was like, I would get Nico on the phone, like, Nico, this scene, is that Bonnie in that scene? He just chuckles and goes, yeah, it is. And I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Before we invite all our attendees to ask questions specifically for you guys, I know several of you guys are part of the production team. What in the hell were you thinking when you signed up for this? Because how do you make something from nothing except a woman with a vision? And I guess I'll throw that out to some of the production film, because what I saw is the aerial shots, the drone shots, the music, it all moved me. And I know you guys have won several awards at film festivals. And so those involved with the production aspect, tell me, what in the world were you guys thinking when a Bonnie Freeman called you and said, hey, are you interested in doing this? And let's start with, let's start with you, the editor here, who's been really behind the scenes, and Nico, you're a producer on this, and several other people. So let's really chat about how did this all come about?
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, good, good. I'm working with a phone and a computer. I have to say it's the story. I mean, you see a story like this. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, Bonnie started with a fantastic book. Tamir and Nico as producers pulled it together into a beautiful, this screenplay was just great. And I learned so much about palliative care. I knew nothing about palliative care and end-of-life procedures. And so, one of the greatest benefits was learning so much about that whole process. And,
but Dave, you're a regular guy in Los Angeles. This is like one of many projects you most likely do. And so was this project somewhat different than your other projects?
it was different. They had, you know, it was a low budget film. They had not really meant it to be. I think in the beginning, Tamir, you can correct me, but I think it was meant to be sort of an in-house educational video, you know, for the hospital, for all the amazing people that work there. And it just started growing. You know, we just started talking about it, and well, I mean, they hired me to edit it. I think they had been through an editor before. I can't remember, but I jumped on because I just loved them and I loved the project, and it just started to grow, and we started to make it more of a, you know, like a film, like a cinematic film, and because everything was there, you know, these actors stuff. And
Well, I will say,
now I'm just amazed. I'm so happy that the world's getting a chance to see this, you know.
People don't appreciate editing. And that's where I think the magic happens, and the producing aspect of a film, because you guys take all of this raw footage, producers, especially the editor, and you tape the story together. And I think editors are probably one of the most talented, creative people. And what you did, Dave, with this film, I was moved. And Bonnie, I wish she saw it. And in some way, I feel like she has seen it. But oh my gosh, what a legacy that you contributed to. Look what you've done. You're on Amazon. People are watching this film, and it's because it was shot beautifully, produced beautifully, but edited to the point that I've seen it 2 or 3 times and I still freaking cry. I still cry. And it's based on true events of Bonnie's life. So thank you so much for this art that you've created, and the producers in this film. It was so beautiful, and it makes me want to work with people more like you, who see a woman with a vision and the heart and passion, and have the ability to write a great script. And you guys made it happen for her.
That's terrific to hear. I'm so glad you liked it, and I'm so glad people are responding to it. And Bonnie, I only met her once. She's so unfortunately passed right when we were getting into the, into the post-production. And it was one of the saddest things I've ever experienced is that she just, it was incredible the way things pulled together. But I really applaud the producers for just keeping the train going and getting the film finished, getting it off the ground.
Were you amazed to see it on Amazon? To see how far the legs are stretching with this film?
Absolutely, yes. Just because of the, I saw where it came from and what its original intention was, and it was a beautiful thing. Hey, it must have been meant to be,
Absolutely.
And I'm sure Bonnie is watching it and watching all of us. I certainly hope so.
And so one last question for you. I mean, when you walked away from this film after editing it, and I mean, what changed you about end of life, about palliative care? Is there anything that kind of changed your whole opinion about dying and living?
So I mean, as I said, I've learned so much about, from Dr. Dale, and just seeing this whole, some of the actors they work every day. This is what they do. And that really affected me. And their performances are just, they're going through their daily life in the movie. And it's almost like a documentary in ways. I just learned a lot. My dad is 92. He's still kicking. And so, end of life affects all of us. We all have parents or somebody who is going to, a friend or somebody who's going to be going through this. And I've always believed in, though, the positive energy of, laugh, stay happy. Life is a celebration, and it's not a time to if you can avoid being sad, and just keep the joy of life going.
Yeah. I tell you, at the bedside of the dying, I've learned more about how to live than how to die. And I know that's cliche, but it is so freaking true. It really, because I know I'm going to die one day, it really inspires me that this might be the last day I live. And how are we going to do that? And I know Bonnie felt that way, even though my heart broke for her not to see the full project come to fruition. I feel like she was a part of it every step of the way. What about you guys who produced it? Nico, Tamara? I mean, what was it like to continue to do this after the impact of knowing that you lost Bonnie? Did it inspire you to even fight harder to make something happen?
So for me, it was in the beginning when I produced the film, I believed in the cause of it. I loved the story. But when Bonnie died, I felt like we have a mission. It became from kind of a goal, career goal that I want to have, and social message and social justice. For me, it became like a mission to finish the film. And I can tell you from like many friends of mine that are producers, like most of indie films don't get finished, even those with budgets and stuff, because Nico can tell you and other people in the production, we had so many obstacles to finish an indie film, and the post, people don't know how much the post-production, how crazy it can cost and how many challenges. And we got it through mostly because we felt like we have a mission to finish it. We couldn't disappoint Bonnie and just let it go in the air, just to the shelf, to the drawer. So me and Nico were kind of working days and nights, and we were learning while doing. Like while we were getting Dave, our editor and composer, and colorist, and at every part of the post-production, we had to kind of have faced challenges that we never faced before. So we got to learn while doing, and and we did it for Bonnie. That's what gave us the motivation, most of it.
Well, and it's good to see you, because you showed up in Los Angeles at the event, and I got to meet even Dale, you and Nico and a couple other people. And as we were introducing the film at this event to show it to a small audience, I got choked up. And it was this feeling of how proud I am of each one of you for like carrying that torch. And Nico, you just happened to reach out to me. I thought, who is this Nico? And yet you're a producer on this. And what I've seen, you are a full-time actor, but you had something inside you that you were on fire when it came to making sure this happened. And you were willing to do, I think, just about anything to a certain point to make it happen.
Yeah. I think that Bonnie, what really struck me is that Bonnie, kind of the human connection that she created within all of us, like she connected all of us together without us realizing it. And for me personally, I didn't really realize the large connection that she had with all of us until after she passed. And I think that's when I really woke up and knew that I needed to do whatever I could to take this film to that next level, to where she had always talked about where she wanted it to go. She never had specific points. I think, again, Bonnie was very simplistic in how where she wanted this film to go, but it was like such a far reach. And she wanted this to be able to be, she wanted just the everyday person to be able to walk into hospitals and just say, this is the type of care that I want. I want to be able to be taking care of a person like Michael or the palliative care team that works with him. And she wanted to make it well known and universal for people to know. She also wanted to teach that to those who are practicing supportive care and palliative care. She wanted to use this as a educational tool for them. So I guess I realized like at some point that this was like an opportunity to help people in a sense, like on a larger scale. I looked at it as like, I wanted this film to show the side of the type of people that we all wanted to be, or that we all want to become, but struggle to be.
Mm.
But I can say without a doubt, Bonnie was that person. She's that person who we all want to become, but struggle to be. And she did it with such ease that just made it like, it was a no-brainer at that point. I knew that this had to be her mission had to become part of my mission as well. And everyone else, as you can see, has joined in. We've all taken on her mission together as a team. She's always say it's all about the journey. And I never knew exactly what that meant until the after moments, that this is part of the journey that she wanted us to be on together. And we're continuing this journey together. And so it's so beautiful.
Yeah, Bonnie reminds me of, I've worked in the business before with Saturday Night Live and CBS, and this is the thing, is some people that I met within the industry, I don't care what they were doing, I would want to work with them because they made me feel. And it sounds like Bonnie, if she came to you guys and said, hey, we're doing a horror flick next month, we all want you guys to come back, I feel like you guys would be like, no problem. It must have a true meaning to it, and show up because this is who she was. And that's what I love is that you guys aren't cast members or people who came together to create a film. You guys seem family to me. It just seemed like y'all did everything and to make this happen. And Bonnie, I call her the Pied Piper because all she had to do is toot the horn and everyone could line up. But she had that, even briefly talking to her once on the phone, she got me sucked in. And so I can only imagine working with her on the set and just what everyone experienced. So I know with all production, there has to be like an executive producer. And which really comes in, and you guys, what the crazy thing is, you've had a couple of people who were a part of this that were actually people who work in the field of end of life. And we must do like an honorable mention of the social worker. Nico, help me with her name.
Rupinder Sidhu.
Now
played.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, she played the part of Valerie in the film. She played the part of the social worker, but she is a real life social worker at the hospital that we filmed at.
And she showed up to Los Angeles, and I cornered her because I'm like, are you sure you don't want to act? You were brilliant. And she goes, no, I'm good. I'm a social worker at the hospital. I'm like, no, but you were so good. And she goes, no, I'm cool. But she was really good. And unfortunately, she couldn't join us today or this evening. But she an honorable mention to her. But Dale, I mean, Mr. Dale, what is it like to be the executive producer, William? Because it takes people like you who work in the field, see the vision of what Bonnie had. And you guys were filming in a operating hospital. I can only imagine what that took to create. So tell me a little bit about your experience, William.
Sure. I don't want to take too much time from the cast, but Bonnie, I was lucky to be Bonnie's boss in the hospital at City of Hope. So, her office was next door to me. The story I like to tell about it is she one day came by and she was always full of ideas. So she would come by and be like, I have this other great idea. Like, we know, Bonnie, we got to go see some patients. She said, I got this great idea. I want to shoot a film and we want to shoot it in the hospital. Can you give us permission to shoot in the hospital? And I said, Bonnie, of course not. This is a hospital. It's not a movie set. We don't do movies in the hospital. What are you talking about? So she went on a little while and I said, you know what, Bonnie, for you, I'll go ask my bosses who are actually in charge of this hospital to see if we can shoot a movie in the hospital. And so that's how we started we got permission. I said, Bonnie, it turns out if you do it on weekends and you don't break anything and nobody gets hurt and you sign a bunch of waivers, they'll let you use the hospital. And so that was how we got started. But I want to turn this back, and we practice palliative care. I'm in on this 1,000% because of all the things you've already said and heard from others. And my wife and I decided it is a low budget film. For us, it's not as low budget, but we're glad to not have a kitchen and have a film instead, which is sort of how it worked out, I guess. And so for me, it's just been really fun. I really enjoy this little piece of Hollywood. The film is so meaningful. We stretch the truth a little bit about how much fun it is to do what we do every day, I think. Nico made it look a lot more fun, and Claire, Craig, and the whole cast in some ways, but they also brought out the heartbreak that goes into it and the humanity behind it. So we were thrilled to help and bring this to light. And City of Hope looks wonderful. Amir with his flyovers made us look great. And Rapinder works for me. I'll finish with a little short thing. Social work is part of my department of supportive care medicine. I'm the chair of the department. And I saw her the other day and I said, Rapinder, we're getting together and everybody's talking about how wonderful you are. And don't you ever a little bit want to go back to Hollywood? She said, I can only play one part, and that's a social worker. So I don't know what my career in Hollywood would really be. So I'll step away and thank you, Kimberly and Tony, if he's still there, for supporting this and helping us promote the film. And thank you to the rest of the cast. I really enjoyed getting to know and work with each and every one of you.
Well, and tell your wife hello from all. I met her in Los Angeles, and it takes people like you who will forgo certain things to create such a beautiful, beautiful film. And if you ever question, just go to Amazon and look at all the comments because of you and what you did for the film. It is touching lives beyond, I believe, what even Bonnie thought was possible. So touche to you and your wife, and thank you for what you do in palliative care every day. So yeah, absolutely. So I really want to really focus on a couple of main characters in the film. I want to talk a little bit about Cooper, Cooper's wife, and Cooper's dad, and really what it was like to go through this film and play a dying person. And I would say I would love to show a clip. Now, please forgive us, it might be a little choppy, but I would love to show what you call the shut the hell up scene in the movie.
I'm here with the neurologist, Dr. Crawford, and Dr. Steifen, who you've already met. We wanted to talk with you about Cooper's MRI. Cooper needs surgery as soon as we can arrange it. His cancer has caused some bones in his spine to break and push down on his spinal cord. And we also think that there's a tumor growing in his spine that needs to be removed. Now, these two problems are what's causing Cooper's pain. So Dr. Sun, the neurosurgeon, wants to operate as soon as possible to prevent any permanent damage. Okay?
I'm so sorry this has to happen so quickly, Kelly. Here I have, it's just a surgical release and consent form for you so you can sign. Dr. Sun will be doing the surgery, and then Dr.
I know you're listening because you stopped snoring.
And looking after him. And she will place in the implanted pain pump if necessary or possible. So.
Do you want to talk about this?
I'll do anything to stop the pain from coming back.
That's it. What do I sign?
Okay. So, general logistics, this is talking about before and after operation. Should be taken care of constantly. We need to be monitoring.
I just realized something. I was just thinking how much you remind me of my father right now.
incision, pain level.
What the hell?
Now hear me out. With the bald head and the blotchy skin. Yeah. You look just like my old man. I mean, I know you're not old enough yet, but wow, you could be twins.
Are you for real?
Could you just say, shut the hell up, you dumb shit, for me? Come on, say it. Come on. Say it. Shut. Come on.
Shut the hell up, you dumb shit! Oh, no!
Brings back so many memories.
Great.
Why are you being so rude?
Oh,
He's on an IV.
So talk to us a little bit about the scene. Let's start with you, Cooper. I'm sorry, Craig. I'm so confused. I see your face and I see Cooper, not who you truly are. Please forgive me.
Well, that was one of many really fun scenes, and I think a little difficult. All the scenes are a little difficult, but Nico and I developed a really good friendship and some good banter back and forth throughout the film, and it was being a part of it was just a phenomenal blessing for me, and getting to know these guys and all the people you've talked to so far to make it happen. This was Bonnie's vision. We say she didn't see the finished film, but I think she saw the film before we started filming. I think she knew everything that was going to be shot. She knew the final cut. So I definitely know that she saw this film. It was her vision, but it took a lot of people, a lot of effort from the producers and from Nico and Tamir, what they did to put it together, and all the actors. They're just the best group of people. I mean, what a joy to be a part of the. I'm looking at Megan right now, my young movie wife, and I mean, it's just like the relationship. What you saw on screen is real. I felt like I didn't really have to act because everyone was so real in this film, and the situations were near and dear to all of us. Cooper was, I'm sorry, Michael, because the actual person was Michael Cooper, but Michael was a pain in the ass, and he still is to a certain degree, but I love him, and we have fun together.
You know, the scene,
doing the film.
The thing is about the scene that I love is you're in extreme, Cooper's in extreme pain. And his wife is like, oh, I don't know what to do. And, you know, here Michael is kind of like, oh my God, you remind me of my father, and just tell me to shut the hell up. And then it was really great, Megan, when you saw that light bulb go on where Cooper was in a lot of pain and he decided, and you heard him say, I don't want to suffer. And you're like, give me the paper to sign so I don't see my husband suffer anymore. And I think that's the key. Now, unfortunately, a lot of our palliative care patients, if they don't have those pre-conversations, they're not able to have them. True. But still, it was really interesting how, Megan, that light bulb just came on and was like, give me the paper. What was it like filming that? Because you were like stoic, and then you were like, give me the piece of paper.
I think it was just, and the relationship between the two, even before we actually filmed this, they were such a tight couple, and literally, knew each other's every move, very, spiritually and mentally connected. And so it was one of those things where, okay, this man that I love so much is in so much pain that it just was tearing me apart. It was tearing me apart, and I couldn't imagine him being in any other forum of, you know, happiness, pain, whatever it is. It's like, you know, no, if this needs to happen, then I'm on board 100%. I trust these doctors, I trust these nurses, I trust what they're telling me. So, you know, let's make it happen. And it was just like, there was no hesitation, because I knew that was essential to his, you know, well-being in the end game. So
I thought you were brilliant, and throughout, it reminded me of when I was on the set of Saturday Night Live, how we often laugh, and I saw some of you like, I'm not going to laugh. This is not what I'm supposed to do right now. But it reminded me, I'm sure there were so many cuts because of the laughter that you saw. And to me, that is what I connected with, because my family is pretty much insane and they laugh at the most irreverent points. And so that's what I connected with, is those irreverent moments where you're not supposed to laugh, but you're like, have that church giggle and you just have to let it out. I thought it was brilliant. And I thought, Megan, now TJ, I mean, you were also a part of this whole sort of family as well. And what was it like as playing this role to see sort of a family member watching them suffer in your point of view?
Yeah, it's very difficult. You know, when you can just imagine, it doesn't matter what age a child is, but just losing a child and you trying not to show too much emotion because you want to be as still powerful, you know, to show them that, you know, you believe everything's going to be okay. So you that fine balance there where you're losing somebody, but at the same time, you don't want to be totally out of control, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And
absolutely.
So I just, you know, was thinking of that part of my thing. And I, you know, just the hard part was, I think, you know, I was watching Megan and Craig, you know, because trying not to lose it when they're losing it so much and trying to be the one that's sort of staying, you know, stable as much as possible.
I mean, did you guys find yourself kind of tearing up in some of these scenes and had to like pause for a minute?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Wow.
Nope.
Not Nico. Nico is a consummate actor.
Not at all. No, I was like, just let him go.
That's my boy.
Well,
Yeah,
to move on to a really one of my favorite scenes, which involves the love story of Nico, you and Claire. But what I love about this is it also involves the psychiatrist, Lindsay. And I say that in a sense because there's this team meeting where you guys are having this meditation scene, and then you guys have this kind of foreshadowed that y'all are making fun, especially the main character, Michael. He's sort of shifting and always kind of late and lollygag. But in the end, when Claire and Michael find themselves in the stairwell, you know, Lindsay, the psychiatrist, has put something in your pocket, and it does mean something. So I was going to get, Jason, why don't we play the meditation scene and give our audience a little bit of taste of what Michael was like during a, I guess, staff meeting.
Welcome, everyone, to a new day. I'd like to begin with a little meditation and taking a moment to clear our heads and recharge. I'd like to invite you to close your eyes, don't talk, and just let go of work for the next 3 minutes. Okay.
The expression, Lindsay, on your face, you were born to play that role. I tell you, but this is the thing, working in end of life, there's so many times we've been around and we're forced to do certain things like that. And you're like, I just want to start my day. And we don't know the full impact. But tell me, Lindsay, what was it like being the rule keeper in this whole staff meeting? Because you were really funny without being funny.
Well, thank you. I think that's always the goal. But I think, you know, as much of a stickler as Aster is, and as much as she clings to the routines and the regimen and all of that, I think that that's also kind of where her humanity lies, because that's where her control piece was, right? Like, as much as she really believed that these things worked, and they do, and they can, the meditation and the tapping in and the taking the moments really work. I think it was also what she clung to kind of survive her every day in that environment. So, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun to play this part. It was so much fun to play opposite Nico and Claire and Craig and TJ, all of them. It was a really fun experience.
So you are an actress. So what did you learn walking away from this film? Because it, like I said earlier, you guys are family. There's, I don't believe anyone could walk away from this film without thinking, man, I'm gonna die. Maybe I should do something about it. I mean, what did you learn from this production?
First of all, just such a tribute to Bonnie, because like Nico said, she brought us all together. I think one of the most beautiful things that she did, she allowed us all to be such a huge part of creating it, that even though it was her story, even though it was already created, even though it was already written, there were these moments, and I remember her pulling me aside one day and she's like, something's missing here, isn't it? Is something, what's going on in this scene? And just to be allowed in, to be invited in, to collaborate and create and just add to whatever was already there that was already so beautiful. But I think she did that with each and every one of us. She took those moments with each and every one of us to allow us to really dive in, not only to our own characters, but to the story at large. And it was just a beautiful experience.
Well, I tell you, I would have, based on you don't know how many times I've seen that reaction around the table in a staff meeting where people are taking away something when we're trying to be joking, but your role really is impactful. Whether it's, and that's what I love about this film, because we do joke about it. But in the next scene that we see when the character Michael, Nico, pulls out of his pocket something that you've stuck in it, and you see this really intimate scene with him and Claire, you really do know the impact of what that has on staff and how they need that, even if it is sort of forced. Right. We are human beings in this field. And hey, Jason, let's play the scene number 6 in the stairwell, where we could hopefully see the beautiful Claire and Nico and their chemistry when it comes to how they're building their relationship. Of course, Claire's a doctor, a neurologist, I believe, and works with Nico, the nurse practitioner on the palliative care team. So they're working always in constance, and they build this love story between them.
Okay. Don't believe the pedestal you placed upon. Well, that's dumb, because I deserve my pedestal. Of course, now there's a statue of Mary bolted onto it. A power greater than you will determine your patient's fate. Yeah, usually that's the surgeon. comfort in knowing you did your very best. Review actions and explore feelings daily. I promise to stay in the present and separate my personal issues from what actually happened. I haven't been very good at that. I promise not to fear feelings of sadness or grief. For it is when the heart is broken that it is most open to growth and change. Who writes this stuff? Well, you know, it's a good thing I'm not suicidal. Because that would have been over with. Michael, where are you? Cooper just died. Okay. Yeah, okay. All right.
First of all, you and Claire, y'all had this chemistry that was unbelievable. Right down to the pizza. I mean, it was just so unbelievable how you built this relationship. So I would think y'all were dating in real life. I love that. But you know, before we chat about the stairwell scene, I have to go back to where Michael Nico starts recruiting Claire as this girl, or Claire, what was your character's name again?
Dr. Anna Crawford.
Yeah, starts recruiting you, and that's when I saw Bonnie in the background. And yeah, and her Michael's sort of like buttering you on for consult, and he leaves, and Bonnie kind of leans in and says, "Do you want me to call HR?" And that was an ad lib, and I loved it. But you and Nico, y'all had this amazing chemistry. What was it like to work together? I'll let Claire go first.
Yeah, so Nico and I first met, I was actually not originally cast as this character. I auditioned for Tiffany. They cast me actually in Lindsay's role, which is hilarious because and then I know something kind of fell through with the actress who was playing Dr. Crawford, and then they brought me in. And I met Nico. We met for margaritas, obviously. In like 5 minutes, we just had each other like rolling, laughing. And we just had a great time, honestly. And I think that was something that Bonnie really always brought to set, was like, if we're not having fun, even though we're talking about death and dying and we're in a hospital, a functioning hospital right now, you're not doing a very good job. And so that was something that we always tried to bring to set, is that even on those really hard, heavy moments, we still had to find this like little piece of fun and enjoyment in it. And I think a lot of that came from chemistry. Like you said, we really are all family. It's like we're just a big pack of weirdos. So
let me in, man. I want to be part of it. Let me in.
Nice your hand. Yeah, so I feel so lucky to be able to work with you. side note, when we filmed that scene where he's recruiting me and buttering me up, I think we filmed that like October of 2017. If we all flash back to that, that was at the peak of the Me Too movement. So we were like, ooh.
Kiss on your cheek.
No, it was obviously, of course, very, very.
I think you whispered it in my ear once. You're like, me too. I'm like, melted into my seat.
But you know, that's where when I was watching the film, I think for like the 7th time, and I was like watching this lady in the background, and I immediately picked up the phone. I'm like, Nico, was that Bonnie? I think that was Bonnie in that scene. And he started laughing, and he's like, she ad-libbed that line. Do you want me to call HR?
Yeah.
And that's who Bonnie is to me, because I never met her face to face, but her personality came through on that film, because you could see her smiling and leaning over.
Yeah. You know, I want to interject really quick. Bonnie was like Michael's character, like Bonnie in real life was larger than life. You know, she was the type that would say anything that was on her mind, but also like she's very humorous and compassionate, and then like in the same sentence, you're just like, I love you. Like that's how she was. And like in that particular scene, I remember when Michael's telling Anna about his like striptease antics that he just had. He's like, oh, you just heard. I looked over at Bonnie, who was playing like the extra nurse, just typing away on the computer. She like looks at me directly in the eye. She just gives me the biggest eye roll. She's like, as if like, yeah, we all heard about your striptease there. And then I come to find out afterwards that she throws in the line of like, do you want me to call HR? And I think Dave, our editor, is the one who heard that. I didn't even realize that she had said that. Dave's like, this line's classic. Like, you have to keep that in there.
It
like,
was.
That's gold right there.
It totally was.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what the amazing thing is about this film is that it does come to the way it was shot, but you guys had all of these props and these things that added to it. And I know that takes talent to bring in the way you dress and the way, you know, it seems so simple, but it's so deliberate. And I know, Jacob, you had a huge role when it came to making it look very authentic within the hospital. And I believe not a lot. I think people think it's not a lot of effort, but you made it look effortless. And I know it takes a lot of work. So talk to us a little bit about how did you make these scenes really realistic with everything you brought? And tell me, you've got to explain the most difficult thing you had to find to make something work.
Well, it was team effort, really. It was me, Dean, really Bonnie. We went shopping. Bonnie had a list for us, and we went shopping. We went to get the props. Alan had a lot of things, so we all set it up together. But mostly, everything was spur of the moment. So say I had my laptop with me, so I designed the posters that they hang in the back. You know, I just did it.
Even the name tags that you would think would be so,
yeah,
it just added so much authenticity to making people look like they were physicians in a hospital working. And I know that sounds silly, but I know what it takes to make that happen. It was like the small cherries on top that really made it authentic to me. And I congratulate you, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you. And like even the little like flowers we had in the rooms, and we tried to place little elephants in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Bonnie had all these little elephants from her collection. So we put them in every scene. People had elephants on their clothing, and just little things. Like Nico had his little elephant that he carried with him and stuff.
I
So,
loved it. I
He's here
loved it.
somewhere.
Yeah, and even after I talked to Bonnie, even my dog Haven got a stuffed elephant, and I was like, that's in memory of Bonnie, and she'll carry it around, and it was in the RV during the whole tour in the front seat because Haven wasn't allowed to sit in the RV front seat because I couldn't see beyond to like merge over, but yeah, it was so unique how you did that and the thought that it took. I want to change to probably one of the toughest scenes that, as someone who works in the end of life field, that we experienced, and that's Danny's story, the child. And when I remember working in hospice, and we're all cool when everyone's in their 80s and 90s, but when you get that call for a 7-year-old, it is something that you fully can't understand. And what the staff and the way this film portrayed that, and I believe, and help me if this is true, I mean, it was a true story. Talk to me, Monica, because you were the mother of Danny. If I could reach out and hug you, because you played that role so well that I literally felt your pain. And it was so beautifully done. But talk to us a little bit about the story. Give everyone kind of a preference of what happened and how, instead of that gurney wheeling your son out in the film, how you wanted to carry it. And I believe that was a true story that Bonnie experienced and incorporated in this film. So I'll let you take it from there.
I'm actually already tearing up just thinking.
I know, right?
Yeah, every time I think about it, it was tough. And it was, my character, I'm a single mom as well. I have now a 14-year-old son. So just the whole time, through it all, I just thought about him. And it was tough. It was probably the most emotional, draining days I've ever had. But yeah, that scene, carrying him out, that was a tough one. Not emotionally, but physically, because by that point he had grown.
He was heavy.
So I worked a little bit trying to adjust him because I needed, with his weight, well, more so not so much his weight, but his height. I had to sit him down a little lower.
Oh, wow. Now the child that played Danny was actually who? It was someone who was a part of the production, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the son of Finley Zechariah, who's a physician at City of Hope.
And he did great when he needed to just lay there, in the one scene where he was dying and I was holding him. He amazed me with that. It was just perfect. He did such a good job. And
he looked dead.
Yes.
I mean, the makeup was like, the kid's dead. And
a little too good.
Yeah, it was a little, and I loved how, and of course me loving production, I love how you put the sunglasses on him so it would not cause him to, in the film, be distracted with opening his eyes and I love that simple production note that made it really seamless when it came to his performance. I loved it, but I have watched it, like I said, 7 or 8 times. And that, you walking him out, I cannot watch it without tearing up. I can't. And that actually happened, correct? That was a true story.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear that, and I don't know if this happens for everybody, but that we have that option to, I mean, it's a little morbid, but carrying your child out, but that's what we do. We carry our children through life. So being able to do that in their death.
I loved it. And Hey, William, I mean, you do this every day. I mean, this was something that I know palliative care teams try to make things like this happen, even though it's not protocol. It's not the norm. I mean, how was it when you saw this scene for the first time? It must have made you very proud that you were trying to make something miraculous against all protocols and what would be in a hospital happen for a mother who wanted to carry her child out and not see him on a gurney rolled out.
Well, kudos to the team for bringing out this part of it. And I would say, palliative care is the place where we try to meet people where they are, wherever they are, even if it doesn't quite fit. And I don't like watching medical films. I've told Nico and Tamir this a bunch of times. I don't like watching them because then I'm always going, that would never happen. Who thinks that really goes on in these movies? Nobody believes that. And this is a pretty authentic film. There's a little bit of stretching, but the idea behind breaking protocol, that scene in particular, if people are on the Prime website, go look. There's a doctor friend of mine who wrote a review, and she said that scene really hit home because she had a patient experience sort of like that, where the patient wanted something that wasn't part of the rules, and the palliative care team went out of its way to break the rules because why not when this is what the costs are. So that's a really hard scene. Finley's our faculty member, and his son gets carried out in that scene, and I have had a couple people, they just stop the film for a while. They go walk around and come back later. So it's a beautifully done scene, and kudos to the staff. And I think they captured the essence of palliative care. Like, as you know, Kimberly, they'll go the extra mile if they can. And the staff really made it look that way. The cast did.
Yeah, let's actually play that scene number 4, where we experience that.
Okay, I've got the whole floor in pajamas. Everyone should be here in just a sec.
Huh? See? This is what our job is all about.
Danny, what's wrong? Oh no, someone
What's wrong,
help,
April?
please.
Come over. Let's let the doctor check him. All right, come on, take a seat.
But he was doing so well today.
It's okay. We've been here.
Do you need a crash cart?
I'm right here.
No. Hold off on that.
Take a breath. I know he was doing well, but remember, he said that sometimes.
Danny's declining very fast. He doesn't have much left.
You're not alone. I'm right here. I know he's comfortable. I'm right here.
April, would you like to hold Danny one more time?
You said you wanted to. It's time. It's you. That was important to you. Okay. Take a breath. April. Your sweet little Danny has died. I'm so sorry. Absolutely. I will arrange that.
I mean, it's just a beautifully shot and produced scene. Totally. Really, I just, the people who must have been a part of that and editing that, and it was just so well done. What I want to go to next, congratulations, Monique, and for carrying out that, who, even being a mom of children, I can only imagine what you were feeling and what you brought to that role.
Yeah. When I had him in my arms, we had to film it quite a few times. Each time I cried a little more, a little harder. I was worried that I was going to scare him.
Oh, bless your soul.
I can very easily cry. I am a very emotional person. So I had to hold it back as much as I could. And then each time I'm like, okay, he's doing good. So the next time I did more and more. So that, like, him doing as well as he did really helped me out a lot. And what also, what also helped me out was having my mom there.
Oh, wow.
Who actually played my mom. If she hadn't been there, oh gosh, I would have struggled so much through all that.
Wow. So this really was a family thing for you.
Yes, well, my son is actually in some parts. You see him in the trailer being pushed, but he's in Dean's scene, like the flashback scene.
Oh, yeah.
My dad is actually the one that checks in at the end of the Survivor celebration. That's my dad at the end checking in with Michael, with Nico. Both of my parents are actually cancer survivors. So
that's amazing.
That was true.
That was amazing. And you actually made a great segue, because I want to talk about the role of Thomas, and you know, Dean, I don't even recognize you with the quarantine beard. I had no clue that was you. I mean, whoa. But hey, what's really cool about the scene is that we in this field really do lose coworkers, and it's so much more difficult than people truly can imagine. And what I loved what Bonnie did was incorporate someone that people saw on a regular basis within going through his own struggles, but who knew exactly what he wanted because he's seen so much. So, you know, what was it like playing Thomas and juggling that statue that must have weighed 100 pounds?
That was a hell of a challenge. And I was wondering if you would go like, who's the guy with the beard? I don't, why is he here? Who? Yeah, it was.
You know, I'm just good like that, you know?
Yeah, you recognize. I was trying to go incognito. So Thomas had a second life as a mountain man. He survived, and he lives up in Idaho.
Lazarus rose again.
Yes. So it was a lot of fun shooting the scenes with the statue, which Bonnie provided, and we had Tamir down below on his hands and knees in the background.
That's right.
The statue, every time we did a take, it wouldn't shatter. And currently the statue is out in the garage of the house. We still have the statue. But it was very nerve-wracking because Nico would toss the ball and I'd have to pretend to slam into it, and Tamir would have to catch it. And we were all three just like, what if he doesn't catch it? And that was a lot of fun. And then the serious scene because we shot several. It was a delight to work along with Nico and Jimmy, which my scenes were just with Nico and Jimmy, but we got along great, and it was just great going back and forth with Nico. We really hit it off, and I had to dig deep. Yeah, I had to dig deep into my box of acting tricks to just stay deep, because in between takes everybody's chuckling and hanging, and I just tried to stay in the mode, and I tried to go to a darker place and try to give him a history. And I talked with Bonnie a lot about it. I met Bonnie back in 2004. I met her and Alan Freeman, the director, at Comic-Con of all places. And
oh wow!
He and I. I'm a cartoonist, and he and I had been involved in the comic book industry for years, and he was also a graphic designer and
cool.
amateur filmmaker. Anyway, so I had gotten to know Bonnie. She became one of my best friends over the years since then, and she spoke with me about the character of Thomas, who's based off a real person she had treated, who his second heart attack brought him to an end-of-life care facility, and he did pass away. He was so weakened by the heart attack. And so we discussed it at length, and I discussed things like, well, how weak should I behave? How pressed should my dialogue be? Should I bring it this level? I had her on set. I had to tell her on the first weekend of shooting, I said, no, you got to be on set. You can't be down in the green room working on the lunch for everybody. You need to come up here and watch my scenes. So if you have any notes on, am I bringing this? Am I pulling this off? And so it was great to have her there. And of course, Alan was there, who had directed the scenes and stuff. But I got to give props to, of course, Dave Eichhorn for his editing, and David Norland, our music composer who did the soundtrack. What he did with that scene where he shows my flashback.
I love that scene.
Oh my God. I hadn't seen a version of the film with his soundtrack yet until we had the premiere at Beverly Hills. And I'm sitting in the theater next to Lindsay. And when that came on, I was like, oh my God, I'm crying at my own scene. It's just flashback. And Dave had me send him photos of things in my life and me with people and friends and family. And he kind of interspersed a few of those. And so if you slow-mo and just click it frame by frame, I have friends who are like, I saw me in the movie. I'm in that flashback scene. I'm like, yeah, I know. It was,
well, that's the brilliance of editing, you know, and it gives it that complete scene and that character and a 4 or 5 dimensional life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Dave, I mean, come on, you have to, Dave, you were just, I don't know where that came from, if it was in the script or it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And it really moved me, as well as I guess you too. It was such a great film, because when we think of patients, we think of disease, and this sort of opened up that patients have a full life, whether it's short, medium.
An early 2.5 hour version of the film, which she saw before she heartbreakingly passed away. And she was thrilled with what she was seeing way before Dave got a hold of it, or David Norland added music and the rest of the editing and the tightening of the film down to what we have now for Amazon. But she was thrilled with that. And I know when she wrote the book, Resilient Hearts, this is the original cover.
Oh, yeah.
And for some reason, it has, the publisher put a photo of a guy holding a baby. And Alan never understood, why did they even read the book? And the original book, they sent her on one little measly book tour to one coffee shop in Upland, this sad little pathetic, I don't even know if anybody showed up for her to meet and greet. But anyway, they went out of business in 2017, 2 years later. And then Alan rebooted the book with a brand new cover with the wonderful Craig and Nico. And this is available on Amazon. And he did this great back cover with the cast members and Bonnie. And there's all kinds of photos from inside of the book with, behind the scenes.
Sure.
And a wonderful, wonderful dedication from Finley Zachariah. Wonderful
nice.
Dedication. So it's all updated and available on Amazon. But when she told me, she go, I'm writing a book. And I'm like, I'm sure it's going to be awesome, because she had such a work ethic all the years I knew her. And she, you know, from 2007 to 2010, she knocked it out of the park and got her master's and her PhD in palliative care, and attended, I forget the school, it's in Nashville. Anyway, so I was like, oh, great. And she showed it to Alan, and he read it and said, this would be a great movie. And a month later, she's handing him a screenplay version of the book. And he's like, what is this? She goes,
Bonnie
I
and I would have gotten along really, really well.
And she was delightful.
Well, this is the greatest thing. The only limits are the limits you put on yourself. And I think Bonnie is the poster child of, hey, here's a measly bookstore that she got, but look at where her book and screenplay are now.
Right.
Amazing. And you've got to think out of that box. But touche to you, because I think Thomas gave me permission to see staff who know someone they work with and how they would do and go that extra mile for them. And I think that's really, I think we forget about that people we work with do die too. And it affects us differently than possibly, you know, someone we meet. And one of the lessons I've learned from the dying is time is not measured in length, it's measured in depth. And this movie is such a defining epicenter of depth. And that's what I love. And it comes across in the editing and the producing and the brilliant acting. I just can't tell you how, you know, because when Nico and I were talking, he goes, it's a really good film. I'm like, yeah, it's an indie film. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'll watch it. And when I saw it, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This is not low budget. This is beautiful. This is absolutely the drone shots, the way the music came in, the editing, it was absolutely exactly where an award indie film should be.
Yeah, you never know with indie films. Oh, can I say one thing? Bonnie originally, when she wrote the book, the fictional character is her, and it was based on her. She eventually changed the character to a male because she already had this idea of maybe a screenplay and maybe a movie, and she thought, well, nobody's going to want to see me, somebody playing me, frumpy Bonnie Freeman, she used to say, for 2 hours. A lot of nurses are going to see this, and they want to see a good-looking guy for 2 hours. Unfortunately, we never found a good-looking guy, but we got Nico. But
I mean, and you know, he got better looking when he was doing that striptease.
He did.
Scene. So I mean,
that wasn't my body. No, they were just like through my head.
That was an extra.
That was Tamir.
Stunt double.
Tamir, show us your ads.
Yeah. Nico's audition, Alan sent me Nico's audition and his actress reel, and I was like, you better just cast this guy before somebody else snags him up, because he's perfect. And everything Michael's character does in the movie, Bonnie did that, and she wrote about it in the book, Resilient Hearts. And so it's all based on her life and experiences of just bringing joy and an uplifting spirit. And plus, she wrote other books too. She wrote a book called CARES Tool, and it's a comprehensive little booklet that's still published, and it became a worldwide sensation for palliative care practitioners to carry with them. It was like a guide on what to do. It's a comprehensive guide, edited version of what to do if you have questions and you have a patient who's literally on the verge of heading out to the great beyond. So she was really revered and a super rock star in the palliative care world. She toured the States and gave talks and conferences all around. Her original plan was to show this film at conferences, palliative care conferences, and then have Q&As with actors if we could travel to these conferences. And she was really a superstar. With Springer Publishing still has her books published on palliative care. Textbooks of hers are still out there that are being used in the industry. It's pretty incredible.
It is. And before we go, because we're coming up on our couple of hours, I would love to go and give everyone an opportunity to say a few words as we depart. And then I would love to play one of my favorite scenes, which is with Cooper and Michael at the bedside when he's singing to Cooper, and it would be a great way to go out. But I feel that I want to give everyone an opportunity to pay homage to Bonnie, but also say a few words. And William, I would love to start with you, the executive producer who believed in your employee beyond, I think, any boss should believe. But I hope to work for a boss like you one day, who really sees vision and passion and applies that. So we'll start with you.
Yeah, please do tell my rest of my department what you just said. So
give me their emails. I'll totally do it.
I'll just say, it was for me an honor to get to know Bonnie. I was lucky to come to City of Hope and get to know her and work with her, doing the kinds of things she did. And her vision was to spread the word. And like everyone else, I was inspired to help spread the word. So I'm glad we could do that. My wife, Tamara, felt very much the same way. So I just feel honored to participate in it and to have a film that represents our field in such a beautiful way. I don't know anything like it. So thank you to everybody for helping us do that. And I'm so sorry Bonnie isn't here, but I'm so glad she was there to inspire us in the first place.
You know, we say that, I say this, I should say, is no one truly is dead or gone unless we stop talking about them. So Bonnie is fully alive with us right here tonight. And I wish she was here physically, but I know her energy, and she is here emotionally, and she would be proud of each and every one of you. And you should pat yourselves on the back for being part of the legacy that she envisioned, and you guys carried that out. So, and William, you were a huge part, you and your wife, and I just can't say enough about that. Thank you for what you did. Jacob, what about you?
Well, for me, just meeting Bonnie and just having the whole experience of just working on the film with everyone from pretty much from pre-production till the very end, and being there almost every day in production, taking up different roles, just getting to know everyone. And like Alan, Bonnie became like family. I stayed with them like at their place during production. Like they just had dinners. It was just tough, finding out obviously the news and everything. But like that short time like that I knew her, it was just like I've known her all my life, pretty much.
Yeah, it changed your life.
Yeah.
In an instant. Thank you for what you did and to make this film happen. It was amazing. Hey, Megan, what about you? Any last words from the husband of Big Bag Cooper?
Well, I just want to say thank you to you, Kimberly, and everybody involved in making this Q&A session happen. This is just another form of getting the word out, getting people to ask questions that they're uncomfortable about, people like you who are very familiar, and the staff at the hospital at City of Hope, just explaining what it's all about, the different literature that's out there. I think it's amazing. Bonnie, definitely near and dear to my heart. I've been friends with Alan for a very long time, and Bonnie's been, a driving force this whole entire time. She's an amazing woman, and I'll never forget her. I mean, I feel her energy all the time. And
I love the elephant shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, I had to pay my respects, of course. But the entire cast was amazing. The emotions, the energy that we all had to experience all the time. You really became family. And I mean, just that energy and emotion is stuff that sometimes your closest family members wouldn't be able to see. So to see that transparency and to feel that that love, that emotion, that hurt, the pain, everything, that myriad of emotions was real. And it really showed, I think, eminently through the film. So I'm so glad that it's getting a good reception and respect in the industry as well. So love you guys.
But
Yeah, great job. Great job.
thank you.
So, Lindsay, what about you? I mean, psychiatrist, can I call you for an appointment?
Yes.
I mean, what?
The doctor is in.
You were brilliant. And any last words from you?
I think as an actor and an artist, I think that we would all agree, like, I think one of the greatest things that we can all do is share our stories, and to be able to tell a story through this craft is an honor. But to be able to have worked with so many great human beings, both in the business and out of the business, and Nico, who drove this, just put so much effort and energy and love and compassion into making this happen, and Tamir and William and his wife and Dave for this incredible, incredible editing. It's just, we all have our stories. We all brought them to set. We all shared the stories of our character, and ultimately we're putting Bonnie's story out there. Just absolutely, I think that at the end of the day, that's the greatest gift of this, is that we're getting her story out there, that her dream is happening, right? It's coming to fruition, and that in and of itself is kind of the best gift of this, I think.
I would totally, if I was in your position and a cast member a part of this, I would say that you've made her vision come true. Each one of you, what you contributed, every line, how you delivered it, showing up on the weekends. You guys are making this possible. And even though Bonnie can't physically talk, you guys are talking for her. And to me, man, I hope I have people like you when I'm gone to represent me as you've represented her. So Lindsay, thank you so much for coming on, and your humor when you're not trying to be funny was just magical. And I hope to see you in many other things. You're a brilliant actress, and touche for what you brought to this film. So TJ, what about you?
Make sure I'm unmuted this time. I just want to say hi to everybody. It's great to see everyone again. And, try not to break down here, but I probably met Bonnie first time we met, we had a good laugh, and I just realized what type of person, she was, and how much she really cared about other people. And I was driving back and forth because I was performing every night in Vegas and driving back and forth, and her and Alan were gracious enough just to say, hey, come and stay at our place. You don't have to drive back tonight, and having, lunches with them. And I realized what special people they really were.
They say that special people attract special people, and so you must have something in you that brought you to them. And so it shows up on the film, it shows up in this moment. And thank you for your contribution to making this film what it is. What about you, Monique? Any kind of last words from you? I mean, it sounds like your whole family was a part of this. So it was a family thing for you.
It was awesome. Like I said, if my mom hadn't been there, I don't know if I would have been able to do what I did. If I hadn't met Dean, I think I've known Dean for probably maybe 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
I never would have met Alan. I never would have auditioned. And this is actually the first thing I've ever been in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
she was very nervous that day we were going to shoot. I had to pull her aside and give her a couple of little pointers.
Dean was the best coach ever. I mean, I was so nervous. I was literally I was sick. I was making myself sick.
I told her to hold all that nervous energy in until it's time to film. It'll be perfect.
And it did. It really did help. And Bonnie was just amazing. I felt like I had two moms on the set. Just her, you know, Dean's help through it, my own mom's help through it, Bonnie's help, Alan, Rupi. Gosh, Rupinder she was amazing. It being her job, you know, and she took that into helping me through my scenes. So just big support all around. Bonnie actually gifted myself and my mom 2 elephants, a mother and a daughter. And actually I plan on one day, hopefully soon, getting an elephant tattoo in honor of her and being in this movie. And it was just great. Bonnie had mentioned to me that in my audition that her favorite part was it was a part in the scene where I'm sitting with Rupinder, character Valerie, in the one room and just discussing things, and I have my tissue. Well, in my audition, you know, I actually pulled out a tissue out of my pocket. and after, you know, we had gone to the table reading and stuff, and she said that was my favorite part of your audition.
Oh, wow.
Was when you pulled that out. It was perfect.
You got to love Bonnie, who sees things that are improv that are so genuine and human, that she was able to like incorporate. Thank you so much for what you brought. I mean, those scenes are etched in my mind. How you got through them, I have no idea, but yeah, you were born to do this role though. So thank you for your contribution and who you are as well. Claire, I mean, you're one of the main characters that I can't ever get away from. You're beautiful, and you really have this kind of girl next door appeal, that you're just this laid back kind of gal on the film set that I just, you know, I kind of want to call you up and go for like a girls' night glass of wine. Margaritas, but it was so easy to watch you on film.
Thank you. I feel like the luckiest person. All I did was answer a casting call and I walked into all of this. And I just feel so, I don't know, just like the stars were aligned or something. And Dave, you were saying something earlier about us actors, and this is what we do, is we go through these things. And the whole time, and I know everyone else on set felt the same way, I couldn't stop thinking about that. This is what these doctors and nurses and everyone does every day, including Dr. Dale. And I'm so sorry if you can't send your kids to college after this film. We'll figure something out, I promise. But not low budget. I totally know what you mean. But it's I promise you it's worth it. And it's just been such an experience. I've kind of gone in a different direction than acting recently, and I always carry this film in my heart. And I think after we wrapped filming, I kind of, nothing could really live up to this experience. And I know a couple other people feel that way. And it's such a gift. It's such a gift that we created this out of thin air, and it means the world. So thank you. There's nothing that like a little money, a little PR, and a lot of heart can't accomplish.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't know what you're up to now. But I hope to see you in other things, because you were amazing on screen. And what I love about you is that you wear your heart right on your sleeve. And you can, I thought I was getting to know Claire through your role, just how you came across so naturally. It was such a pleasure to watch you, and good luck with whatever you're up to. But I do believe you're an actress, girl. You got it.
Oh, thank you so much. You are so sweet.
You got it. So, you know, Cooper, I know I want to call you Cooper. Sorry, Craig, but you are Cooper to me. The poster, the chemistry that you had with Nico, what you did on screen really electrified the story that Bonnie was trying to tell. Do you have any last words tonight?
Well, first, thank you, Kimberly, for putting this together. it was very enjoyable until you did the Danny scene, and then oh my gosh, I can't watch that. Reading it the very first time, it got me. It gets me every time as well. But I'll just echo what Claire was saying and what everyone's been saying is that being a part of this was a privilege and an honor and a blessing. And the people are phenomenal. I feel like I've got lifelong friends, except Nico. He's a pain in the ass. But Tamir, my brother Tamir, and Nico, and all these guys, TJ, phenomenal entertainer. If you're ever in Vegas, go watch him sing. It's amazing. But everyone's phenomenal, and truly enjoyed this new family I have, and being a part of something that has such an impact and will continue to have such an impact beyond anything, at least that I've ever done or probably will ever do. You do these things, and sometimes you're embarrassed to tell a friend that you did it. But this one, you know, you want everyone to see this movie. It impacted me greatly in my life and my personal life, and I'm sure everyone else as well. Makes you think of things. And Bonnie and Alan were phenomenal people. Alan, obviously, still. I love those guys, and as well, giving me that opportunity. I don't think I was the first choice for the role, but just a immediate connection with both Bonnie and Alan, and with all the cast. I don't think anything I've done has ever been this easy and as difficult at the same time. But I think, as Claire said, if I never did anything else, I'd be perfectly happy, because this is truly a film that you can remember forever, for your whole life, and it will continue to have an impact even when we're gone. So thank you all, and hope to see you guys all post-COVID. Be nice.
Oh yeah, totally. That would be awesome.
Except me, right?
Yeah.
Except you, Nico.
Okay. Just wanted to put that out there.
Please.
Well, Tamir and Nico, the producers, but you know, what was it like being the producers? I'll give you the last words. And I know, Nico, you were the main character, but you were also the drive behind this. And any last words from the two of you? And I'm leaving Dave for the last, because the editing needs a final applaud to what this film truly is. So I'm going to give it to Nico and Tamara, and then we're going to speak to Dave, and we're going to play one more clip, and then we're going to say goodnight. But what's going on in your minds, Tamara and Nico?
So,
Mary, you want to go ahead?
So for me, it's not everybody knows that when I came to LA, one of my goals was to produce a feature, or to be part of a production of a feature, and I couldn't imagine that my first feature that I produce is has such an impact and a message, and I was lucky to meet Bonnie, and to learn from her, and to learn from everybody in the crew and the cast, and from William Dale, that William and Tamara, that helped us in the movie and were an amazing executive producers. And then I got to have Nico next to me in the middle of like production. He kind of saw that I need kind of this support, and he jumped into to be a producer with me on the movie, and we had a mission to finish it, and I couldn't imagine I will have such an amazing experience. And again, I was lucky to meet Bonnie and everybody on the cast and the crew. And
you know, meeting you in Los Angeles was a gift. I mean, you have such passion, and I can't wait. Somehow we're going to work together for some reason. I don't know what. Maybe raking a yard. I don't know. But maybe something. And then, of course, then sure is Nico, the person that bridged the gap from me and Bonnie. And I can't say enough about you. I feel like you're my brother. And I just, I think of you and what you've done for pushing this forward, and I just want to reach out and give you a virtual hug. But
I accept.
Yeah. So any last words from you?
Yes, it was interesting playing two roles to this, the actor and producer. I didn't jump on as producer like Samira said until after we wrapped production, so I wasn't even in that mindset in a sense. But coming into it as an actor, when I first auditioned with Alan, I went into the audition thinking initially like, I have to give this everything I have and then just leave it in the room and that's it. And as an actor, like it's easy to say, but it's difficult to do. But I left that audition feeling like I did that. And I was like, I took a deep breath and I was just like, I don't care what happens. I left it all out there. And I think it was later that evening, I got an email from Alan and it said, we loved your audition. We want you to come in for the callbacks. We have 2 or 3 other potential guys reading for your part as well. So we want you to come in for the callbacks with these other guys and see how the chemistry is between you and everyone else in the film. And I was like, awesome, but also like, because I'm like, I have 3 other guys that I have to compete with. And then I remember I was bartending at the time. So I was like, I got this in the middle of a bartending shift. I was like, oh my gosh, I was celebrating. I was like, somebody should probably buy me a shot, celebrate. And then not even like 20 minutes later, another email from Alan came in and he's like, scratch that. My wife, Bonnie, the writer, just watched your audition and says, why are we even seeing anybody else? Like, I want Nico. And like my heart sank to the bottom of my stomach. And I was like, I haven't even met Bonnie yet, but I knew I had like an instant connection with her somehow. And so fast forward to when I met Bonnie, I remember walking into City of Hope one morning and it was in the room where we all hung out in the Billard Center, where we all kind of like dropped off our bags and got ready and blah, blah, blah. I hadn't met Bonnie and I knew who she was. And walking up to her, I was like, I just wanted to introduce myself and say thank you. And right away, I think I stuck out my hand to shake her hand, and she just like gave me the biggest hug, the most welcoming hug, and just said, I think we're the same type of person. And like she said that to me, and it was like, that put me at so much ease, and that just gave me such a feeling of like, of comfort and validation and knowing that I'm in the right place at the right time. Not to take up too much time, but there were parts in some scenes that didn't even make it in the film. Bonnie and Alan gave us freedom to improvise and ad lib and kind of go beyond the script a little bit sometimes. And there was one part in a dinner scene that we were doing where I had improvised and we went on. And as soon as our director, Alan, called cut, Bonnie comes up to me and like smacks me in the arm. She's like, why didn't I think of that? I got to put that in my book. I got to write that in the next book. She's like, why didn't I think of those lines? And it was little things like that, or it was little things like in the stairwell when Michael realized that this strong relationship that he had formed with Cooper had just ended in the sense, physically, and he was crushed, and he had never gotten a chance to tell Cooper that he loved him. I remember Alan let it go for much longer than when the script ended. And Claire and I were there, and Claire was holding, or I should say Anna. Anna was holding Michael in her arms, and I remember just saying out there like that I loved him so much, and it was that moment that made me as an actor realize like I needed to get that out there. And after we finally cut that, Bonnie came up to me and said, and she had tears in her eyes, she was crying, and she's like, I never got to tell my patient that. I never told him that I loved him. And she had, in a sense, thanked me for saying that out loud, because that was her way of kind of telling him that she loved him. So little things like that, and little connections that we shared in the sense to tell her story, but also tell a much bigger story that she wanted to put out there, because she was the type of person, she knew that storytelling was this way to get people's attention. She taught me and everybody else, I'm sure I can say, and anyone watching this film, that like she's always said, death does not have to be dark. It does not have to be frightening. if we know how to talk about it openly. And that's just it. She found this perfect balance of humor and compassion when talking about death. And it was like, it's such a simple formula, but it hits home so much. And Bonnie will live in my heart forever. I love her so much.
Mm.
And like, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. She impacted my life as a person, as an actor, as a husband, as a father to my dogs. I don't have human kids. Just everywhere, just as an entire being. She's the type of person that I want to be able to somehow be a percentage of in my life.
Oh, wow. Thanks for making me cry, Nico. But,
sorry.
I wish, God, I wish I would have known her. Thank you for that. We can only hope that one day when we're gone, that someone says something very similar, for sure. Dave, I have to leave it with you before I ask Cooper and Nico to pitch this last scene and prep it, because I love editors so much. You make the story so complete, and you're the storyteller when you edit and make it complete. And so I want the last words to come from you before Cooper and Nico introduce this last scene.
Well, thank you for loving editors. We need all the love we can get. That's fantastic. Kimberly, I just want to say thank you for hosting this electronic shindig, because seeing all of you, this is very surreal, and just seeing this crazy family again is amazing. We never got a chance to all go out to dinner afterwards, and now it's like, you know, when are we going to be able to do that? So this is just, it's great.
I hope when y'all do that, you have to like get me to fly out to Los Angeles so I can be with you.
Oh, absolutely.
You're coming. Your invite is, you're coming.
Where are you located? Where are you?
I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina, but they have an airport.
Yes, I've been there. Yes, they do. Yeah, it's a very quiet airport. It's a great airport. Yeah.
Love the airport.
Very easy to get around.
Absolutely.
But I'm just glad everybody's responding to the film the way they are. That's the important thing, you know. And by the way, Craig is Cooper. He will always be Cooper. You know, Craig is Cooper, you know. I don't know if anybody mentioned this, but he owns a printing company, and he contributed to printing all of the posters. I mean, I get this secondhand from Nico and Tamir, but, you know, and that's just the spirit of indie film, and that's what this was. Everybody played their A game. Everybody on this screen and everybody who's not here, you know, just brought stuff to it. Everybody did extra. Everybody wanted to do it. That's what I love about indie films. You know, I used to work in studio films, and I enjoy working on indie films better because it's this kind of thing. It's more of a grassroots, creative, you know, family environment. And I don't think I'll ever stop doing this until I'm ready to retire. So it's this was a really good one.
Yeah, I totally agree. And as a storyteller and a writer, go ahead.
I think it's ripe for a part 2. What do you think? Guys, have you been thinking
what
about
Nico, how do you do that?
Bonnie, I don't mean to end it on a sad note. Bonnie actually was in talks with a children's hospital in Southern California.
Yeah.
And she was like thinking of Nico knows this, writing like a follow-up where Michael ends up working at a children's hospital, and she was going to bring aboard a lot of the cast members to appear somehow in other roles. Yeah.
Well, I will say this. I'm a storyteller. I'm a writer. I think I would be lucky to work with you guys. You guys connect. I hope one day that I feel what Bonnie must have felt by this connection of motley crew people that she brought together that is still standing strong and telling her story. So thank you for that. Dave, your talent, Tamar, Nico, producers, but we can't do anything without, you know, the executive producer and the belief behind this. Can't do anything without Alan and Bonnie, the vision of who Bonnie was, and you're all part of her legacy now. We're gonna end on a really great scene that really touches me, and I want Craig Cooper / Cooper and Nico / Michael to set it up. And it's when Michael is singing to Cooper. And I thought y'all could explain the scene a little bit, and then we can play it, and then we're going to say goodnight. It must have been weird, Craig, to have the boy sing to you without like, oh my God, really? It must have been really fun.
You know, all the scenes with Nico were fun, and you know, I almost feel like, at least I felt like I was cheating sometimes, because we really did have a relationship that I think came out in the film. He's so much fun, and he's like a brother and a son and a buddy to me. And I just think some of the scenes just flowed so perfectly. We didn't have to rehearse a lot. It just it was a blast. And I think the scene where he's singing, I may be out of it at that point, but the setup to it was really fun. I do remember that. I kind of get him a little bit. You know, he's usually the practical joker, but I got him a little bit, and this was sort of payback, ultimately, in a sense, in a fun way.
What about
and I
you,
do
Nico?
love Nico. I do want to say I tease him a lot, but you know, I called him, you know, I'm not going to say the swear words because I don't know who's watching this, but I called him names in the film and since then as well. But I love him dearly. He's a great guy.
You can tell.
You got that right, Kimberly?
I'm recording. I'm recording.
Make sure you play that part over and over.
I will cut it and send it to you so you can do it every night before you go to sleep.
Nice. Yeah, no, like Craig Cooper was saying, we had so much chemistry and fun between each other. And, you know, this particular scene was set up, it was rough. I think going into it as an actor, you know, like, shoot, not, can we say shit? Shoot, I got to cry at this point. Like, I have to really feel my emotions. But what was great about it is that we had shot so much prior to this that we already established that relationship between Michael and Cooper. So it was already there in a sense, but I, as an actor, wasn't there. I spent about 20 minutes with Bonnie outside of, like, while they were setting up the cameras and the lights and the props and everything. Bonnie and I were talking closely, and I looked at her and I was like, I don't want to do this scene any injustice. I want to, because I knew that this was for a real patient that she had spent time with, for Michael Cooper. And I didn't want to just downplay it. I didn't want to make a joke of it or make light of it in any sense. So I wanted to do it as much justice as I possibly could. And I was struggling with that. And she had, it was like a brief moment, but she started talking to me about grief and asking me about my grandfather, who I'd expressed, you know, I had opened up to her about prior to all this, and how he had recently passed away a few years ago, and then how I was still struggling with his grief. And somehow she had gotten me to take that and bring it into the scene with Cooper and singing to him. And Craig was absolutely, you know, as much banter as we had back and forth and as much of a hard time as we gave each other, this scene was so, not, I don't want to say easy, but he made it easy for me to really settle into the emotion and to really feel the fact that I was giving, this character, Michael, was giving back to a patient and a friend and a person, and bringing a sense of humanity to it, as opposed to just a doctor-patient or a nurse-patient level, but a friendship and a connection and relationship. It was just like, it was a really special and beautiful moment. The singing was awful, but
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't realize the Flintstones had like a second verse.
Oh yeah.
What a thought!
I was like, Google, what are the lyrics in the Flintstones? Those are it. You don't really realize like what the actual lyrics are until you Google it. Let me just tell you that. I was way off.
It was awesome to hear. Let's play the clip.
finally happening. I mean, I knew it would. I just hoped. Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones. They're a modern Stone Age family from the town of Bedrock. They're a page right out of history. Let's ride with the family down the street through the courtesy of Fred's 2 feet. Oh my God, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. I hope you're happy in there, bud.
All right, before you give Nico all the praise for that scene, I think we have to acknowledge my acting.
I thought it was the best acting you did in the whole film.
Don't you think? Yeah. maybe my best scene. Thank you.
Kimberly.
Thank you.
Hey, I can't tell you what it's like to spend this evening with you. To know you, each and every one of you, the depth of how you love Bonnie, how you brought these characters to life on film, how the producers and the editor made the story come to reality. And you know, you did it for Bonnie. And this night is totally for her. And you know, if anyone ever questions if one person can make a difference, I think that we can say they absolutely can. Create passion and a vision that inspires people to follow through and make it happen long after she was even with us. So Nico, Tamar, Jacob, Monique, Dean, Dave, TJ, Lindsay, Megan, Claire, Craig, and then many other of you who have Dale, I mean, William Dale, if he's still around, but to everyone who isn't here tonight, who contributed, all I can say is this: watch the film, go rate it, because Amazon looks at the ratings to really, do people want to see more of this? And I believe we do. Art and loss and palliative care and hospice is a great way to bridge and learn about what it's like at the bedside of the dying, that these people are very human and how we can support them, but also begin the conversation way before we're in the hospital. And again, I cannot leave without saying, within the next 30 days, we have a very big decision in this United States. Vote. Just vote, go out, give your voice, and tell them that that even Bonnie has sent you, and with this lovely film of hers, her legacy will live on. And I thank you so much for each one of you and what you contributed to this film. And if there's anything else that I can do to help promote it, I look forward to the, I'm not a cast member, but please invite me to the dinner in Los Angeles. I'd love to really be with you guys to celebrate who someone I've never met had the hugest impact on my life, which is bizarre to say, but really cool. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for your acting. Thank you for your contributions. And Nico, brother, thank you for reaching out on that one day and connecting us and allowing us still to be here celebrating Bonnie today. So thank you for being determined.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, touche to everyone. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out. And we'll talk very soon. And again, if you want to meet up with Partner Plus Media, who is a sponsor of this event, put your name and email in. You'll get a poster of Elephant in the Room. And as the poster's coming off the wall back here, because it's just too electrifying to even stick to the wall, and a book of mine. But we're all in this because we care about telling a story. And thanks for Bonnie for giving us a story to tell. Good night, everyone, and cast, be well, and until we meet after the COVID.
I wish we had some magic that could
Bye,
take
guys.
Bye, Claire, Lindsay, everybody, Nico. Have a good night.
But we only have hope to guide you on your way.
We are in this together, and together we'll find a way
To turn what comfort we can bring into a special day.